This is a Let's Play of Mask of the Betrayer, the second official campaign to Neverwinter Nights 2 for PC. Somebody else is already doing this as an LP. They're doing it an evil campaign. I'm going to be doing this as a good campaign. I'm also going to be doing it as a, well, slightly strange setup, in that I'm attempting to use only one character, but I'm going to have all the other people present just because there's a lot of dialogue. Unlike Storm of Zahir, there's actually some conversation in this game that matters. The character I'm going to be playing is actually abusing a bug, but it's really not that power gaming a class, just because there are clearly more powerful classes, and this character can't take advantage of the really ridiculous enchanting system in Mask of the Betrayer. So it's sort of a Munchkin option and sort of not. I have a game at the start where I'm going to load with all of the stuff, so I'm just going to auto-level through this. I'll go over the character once I get a chance. But the take-home message is that it's a sorcerer and a spirit shaman, and I'm creating the Mystic Theurge prestige class through a bit of a bug. It's actually a bug that's in every version of the game that I'm aware of. They haven't bothered to fix it, mostly because Spirit Shaman's not that great a class. And I'm just going to level up automatically to get past this. These items I'm wearing, they're all the same. They're all called Fu of Crippling. There's one for each inventory slot. I'm going to pass these out to my party members, and, well, maybe you can't read this, but they're minus 10 to all stats, 100% weakness to all damage, and minus 100 to AC, and minus 20 to all saves. So, essentially, anybody who's wearing them is going to be pretty useless. I want to keep the other characters present rather than doing a true solo campaign, just because there's a lot of interesting things they talk about. This is a much more of a storytelling game. It's much more Baldur's Gate than Storm of Zahir's Icewind Dale. You do actually kind of have to pay attention to the plot. The closest equivalent might be Planescape Torment. This isn't as good. It tries to do the same thing, but the Torment is better. I mean, it is.
Pain. It surges through bone and blood. It tears at your heart, in the place where the shard once was. You struggle to raise your head. A hole has been carved into your flesh, just above your heart, and raggedly stitched by an unskilled hand.
For those who haven't played the original campaign, and I'll forgive you, it's not very good, the character had a piece of the Sword of Gith stuck in them, and they reassembled the rest of the Sword of Gith and used it to banish the King of Shadows, and it was just sort of local boy done good, yay, and there really weren't that many interesting characters. Some of them even show up here again, though not very many of them.
Your companions, the King of Shadows. You try to remember what became of them, but they slip from your grasp. You are alone. 1,000 tons of earth between you and the world above. Something stirs inside you. A presence, a hunger. It is bound, angry, and it cannot escape.
We'll get back to that.
I'm here. Lie still.
And this is our first companion here, Sophia. If you know your Forgotten Realms, she's clearly a Red Wizard of Fae, and they're sort of a notoriously evil order. She's, however, rather neutral, so...
Shard? I don't know. I was told to look for you and that you'd be injured, but nothing about a shard. I know you have questions, but we must leave, now, before the spirits wake.
Anyway, you can ask about a bunch of stuff. Option 5 here will give you a permanent penalty to Sophia's disposition, which isn't a big deal, but it's only -6. But don't choose it unless you really want to piss off all your companions, which is an option. There are reasons to do that. I'm going to load this other save because I don't want to have to set up the character and everything. So I'll be right back. And we're back. The character I have here, I've kind of pitched all of my crippling equipment and given it to Sophia. She's going to have to be a bit of a pack mule for a while. You'll notice that she has some none too impressive stats with just one of the items equipped. She'll only take one. A couple of the later characters I may need to have them equip multiple items to keep them sufficiently useless. Sophia is a fairly standard sort of mage type. She lacks mirror image, which is the most important defensive spell. I'm going to use it a lot, you'll see. And since she's a specialist mage and a Red Wizard of Thay, she actually could have taken it based on her original specialty, but now that she's a Red Wizard, she can't. She is pretty much stuck without it, and it's the only way to survive as a wizard in anything other than just hiding in the back. So she's not very effective as anything more than just a support character. She does come with a free companion, a familiar, which is a lot like the pixie familiars from the original Neverwinter Nights, in that he's a fully functional rogue, which is handy. But anyway, let's get started on this first area. I'm just going to cast Mirror Image. I have a lot more buffs I can cast. This is a very short area, I'm not going to bother to cast it. Go over here and talk to the Rainstone Pillar. You can try and touch it. Sophia tells you not to. And you get a vision of a laughing boy, a woman with golden skin, and a wall of screaming souls. There's actually some other parts to that vision. We'll get back to that. It'll start making more sense later. The wall in particular, if you know your Forgotten Realms lore, is something it actually figures very heavily into this game's plot. And I'm just going to tell her what I saw. None of the responses really matter. I'm going to move on out here. At the top of the stairs, Kaji, who's the familiar, speaks up, and you can compliment it basically, and you can tell Sophia that it's so wonderful how she cares for her familiar. And in this case, I gained influence with Sophia. I'm going to try and get max out influence with everybody, all of my characters. It gives you some small bonuses, and it changes their dialogue in places, but nothing big. Anyway, forging on. I'm just going to leave her in the back. She mentions the crafting system, which I'm basically not going to use. I might do some of the spirit crafting really far into the game, but I'm not going to make use of Sophia at all. I don't want her to be an asset to my party. And I'm just going to use the big stuff to get rid of these. The game forces you to rest pretty much in a second. The earth essences I'm picking up from this dead body are for the crafting system. Even if you don't intend to craft with them, they're worth quite a lot of money, so it's worth picking them up. Picking up that book there told my journal about the Betrayer's Crusade. Again, important, but later. And I'll pick up his fire essence and just keep going. And Admiral Akbar would kind of warn us about this next little piece of area because... Wait, it's a trap. Yeah, imagine that. That's the end of the first little...
There you are, Red Wizard. We got your scent on the empty air and it shook us from our sleep. But you were alone when you went below.
One of the things I skipped over when some of the earlier dialogue is that we're in Rashomon, which is the home of Dynahir and Minsk. Sadly, there are no references to that other than, just knowing it. And these are Telthor, which are spirit animals, undead basically, but, nice undead. Anyway.
Something was trapped in the Cavern of Runes, a poison at the heart of our dream, swallowing memories and names. Anything that emerges from there cannot be allowed to walk free. Those were the words of our god before he sank into slumber.
Right. Anyway, we'll tell it the truth.
Like. Nothing walks alive from the Cavern of Runes, not while I guard the way. Go back the way you came. What is that scent? Blood. A wound that should have been mortal but was not. No, something deeper. Vile and familiar. Why do I remember?
At once, the presence twists within you, crushing the breath from your lungs. A wild groan rises in your ears, like an animal that has hungered for centuries untold, yet been unable to feed and unable to die. Then the groan rises to a scream. You can see nothing, hear nothing. Your flesh seems to burst apart in ribbons, the hunger erupting from within.
That wasn't a spell, or a divine invocation. How did you do that?
Good question, Sophia. Well, we don't know either. But let's just say that's a little bit important to the plot of the game. That we don't know and what it was. And we could say it was a hunger.
They've healed. Whatever you did, you destroyed that spirit. Never mind. We need to keep moving and leave this place.
I was okay with destroying that spirit. It had a bad voice actor. We'll see you next time.